and go, go, go!
All right, everybody. This is the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters. I'm here with my buddy Joe. And this is the Sunday Stroll edition. Now, what is a Sunday Stroll? It's where we come on every week and we talk about football. We give golf a little bit of a break and talk about the NFL, which has been unreasonably cruel to Joe and I. You have no idea, folks. We'll jump right into the injury report. Joe, hit us up with your guy out. We both got hit with the injury bug. Possibly go ahead with yours first.
Yeah, man, it's George Kittle this week for me. It's already been Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler and Deontay Johnson for multiple weeks, and now we got George Kittle probably out for at least 8 weeks, probably the rest of the year, reasonably. So yeah, that was my injury of the week.
Yeah, so for me, Kenny Golladay goes back down. So we have I'm rubbing my head because this is so sad here. I lose this week by half a point. We play in a non-GPP league.
Non-PPR.
Non-PPR. I've got all kinds of non-PPR league. Kenny Golladay goes out in midway through the second quarter. So he has 0 points. 0. I have the best kicker in the league this year, the rookie out of Georgia playing the Indianapolis Colts, who they kick tons of field goals because for some reason Phillip Rivers likes to throw it in the red zone. That's why I picked him up. And so he's like scored more points than anybody in the league this year. Misses two extra points in the first half. So then they have to go for two another time. And I lose by half a point to a guy that had like 50. I mean, we know Dalvin Cook went freaking off on it, and that's who he had for me. And so, in retrospect, I also have Jefferson, who didn't catch a ball in the red zone. It was just a terrible weekend for fantasy. And
we're struggling this year, buddy.
We're struggling. We're on the short end. We are struggling. Several other injuries. I went back on the Golladay thing. It looks like I saw today where they put it out there that they are the Detroit is shopping for wide receiver. They're willing to give up, which I don't know why. At 3 and 4, why, or is it 4 and 4 or 3 and 4, whatever they are? Why are we thinking about giving up? We're thinking about giving up a draft pick for a wide receiver. We ain't going to the playoffs, folks. It ain't happening, Patricia. Hey, you guys, GM's got to be out. When we firing them?
GM and coach, man, they both
gotta
go. Yeah,
they gotta go. So, no really big names other than the quarterback up in San Fran. He's going to be out. No other big names that I saw hitting the deck this weekend for any surmountable time. We know Thursday night. Guy for Atlanta, wide receiver for Atlanta, played at Alabama.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. He went out mid after he had like 42 yards receiving. He went out. So still with the Carolina Panthers, who knows? And I don't know if it's maybe been scheme or what, but it seems like they've been going. Mike Davis hasn't been able to get the ball rolling from the run standpoint, and they've been letting Teddy Bridgewater throw it across the middle more and a little bit less of these little screen passes that we've always seen historically from Carolina. I don't know if it's scheme or because of who they played maybe, and they haven't been able to get the run game going. But they've looked a lot worse since they haven't been able to get the run game going. I think they've lost 2 straight now. So –
yeah, man, NFL defensive coordinators are really smart, and they adapt really quickly. And what we see often is that they will work the hardest on taking away what teams like to do or what they do best. And for Carolina, that's kind of that short little dump-off game that's worked so well for Christian McCaffrey and Mike Davis since he's been filling in. So I think you're just seeing coordinators scheme to take that away from him. And he's had a couple of tough matchups. Certainly expected a little bit more from Atlanta last Thursday, but yeah, man, I think guys are just scheming to take that away from him.
Absolutely. Let's run down the scores from last week. Falcons get one more step further away from the Trevor Lawrence lottery, beating the Carolina Panthers 25-17. New England Patriots lose to the Buffalo Bills in a very good game. Actually, fun to watch. Upset alert. Cincinnati Bengals dominate the Tennessee Titans 31-20.
Never a game.
Yeah, never a game. Vegas Raiders beat the Cleveland Browns 16-6. A very, very boring game, defensive game. Um, Colts destroy my Lions 41-21 with two extra points missed in that game. Minnesota Vikings really opened up the sore to the weakness of the Green Bay Packers defense, just like we saw in the playoffs last year. They just basically gave the ball to Dalvin Cook, and he did his thing.
They're a they're a different team when Dalvin Cook is healthy.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, it's just opened the lens of the weakness of the Green Bay Packers as well. They took the lead 7-0, and after that, we're never in the game. Kansas City Chiefs beat the very boring game, the New York Jets 35-9. Miami Dolphins win against the Los Angeles Rams. Tua gets his first win as a starter. Really was not a factor. The defense played awesome for created turnovers, scored a lot of points for the Dolphins. Really good game, though. This is probably the best game. So, well, a couple of good games here coming in. Baltimore loses to Pittsburgh 28-24. That was a back-and-forth game. I mean, that's a game we like to watch on Sunday afternoon. Unfortunately, we can't watch it in Knoxville, Tennessee, unless you got the NFL ticket. So, another good game in the late. Denver Broncos roar back for the Los Angeles Chargers 31-30. Drew Lock on the way out, yet hit up some fans, said, "Hey, don't y'all boo too early now." Scored
Falcons West, baby.
Yeah.
The Chargers are the Falcons West.
Yep, scored with literally zero time left to win that game. New Orleans Saints beat off the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are one of the worst teams in the NFL, and somehow are still tied for first in their league. I don't understand it.
One of the worst teams with one of the best defenses, but they're also one of the worst teams somehow.
It's
I don't know how that works out, but that's what's going on in Chicago.
It's amazing. Seattle Seahawks, golly, Russell Wilson. It's going to be hard for him not to win the MVP. They win 37-27 over the San Francisco 49ers, and the Philadelphia Eagles embarrass the Dallas Cowboys. Heads are going to roll in Dallas. As of right now, 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, New York Giants have the ball on their own 35-yard line, up 14-3 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Looking for an upset there. Double-digit underdog. Side injuries, Joe, is anything that stands out to you that, I mean, I feel like on the rundown we kind of hit on the main points. New England is lost up there right now, and I don't know if it's a Belichick thing. I think like we said the last couple of weeks, it's not a Cam Newton thing. I think if Belichick's going to put on the hat as I'm the captain of this ship, it all falls on him. He has refused to build that team from the bottom up over time, and it's really showing the sores of that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of – I mean, when you go deep in the playoffs and win Super Bowls every year, you're never getting a high first-round draft pick. And they've drafted beautifully over the years, undoubtedly found a lot of late-round gems and developed a lot of guys over there that are probably just borderline NFL players that they've turned into very solid NFL players. But eventually that takes a toll, man. I think the lack of high draft picks, being forced to try to make something out of nothing, and it's caught up to them a little bit. There's just no offensive weapons on that football team right now to speak of, and while Belichick can scheme well defensively, they played this game without Stephon Gilmore. Some people are saying maybe he's going to be traded. So who knows? Certainly the best player on their defense. But I think we'll see a lot of these games down the stretch from New England where it's just they play these teams tough, grind it out. It comes down the end, and they'll either lose by a little or win by a little. I think that's all Belichick can really do at this point with the talent that he has or the lack of talent that he has. So I think we'll see a lot of 21-17. 24-20 games for New England, whether they win or lose. But yeah, man, they're heading in the wrong direction right now for sure.
Yeah, and you saying that makes me think. Well, first part of what you said about the draft picks, One thing also in there that we're leaving out is that they've had some first round draft picks taken away for illegally doing stuff in the NFL. Now, so besides that, let's get past that. The second thing you said was very intriguing. So this is what I can kind of see from Belichick doing with the Gilmore. Gilmore, maybe we know he's like you said, by far probably the best player on the team, much less the best player on the defense. But he's probably already hit his peak in his career, right? Can we say that? So he's very good at finding people that have hit peaks in their career, maybe on the way down. And Belichick could possibly get a second rounder for him or better using his magic. You know, if you got a team that's looking for a late playoff push, I mean, let's think. Obviously, Green Bay would be a perfect fit for him. Or
Tennessee Titans.
yeah, absolutely.
Desperately need a DB, which I think they actually traded for a DB from the Chargers. I'm sorry, I can't think of the player's name, but I think they actually made a trade for a fairly good DB today.
Right. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah, Titans can definitely use the DB.
I mean, let's just be honest, man. Is anybody going to be able to beat Kansas City? I don't. I know we're only at week 8, but I watched the Ravens and the Steelers, and if Baltimore gets down in a game, Lamar Jackson just cannot sit in the pocket and throw the ball when teams know that he's forced to throw. It feels like he's regressed this year. I don't know if it's because of the lack of training camp. I don't know if opposing defensive coordinators have kind of caught up. He's obviously still a very skilled, explosive player that can make unbelievable plays. And I mean, I think this team's going to win a lot of football games, but I just don't know about them beating the Pittsburgh or Kansas City in the playoffs.
Well,
did you get a chance to watch any of that? Or you got any thoughts on the Ravens?
Well, so back to your question, can anybody beat them? So I personally think that, let me go back to the scores for this week. I personally think that there's only like maybe 4 teams that can actually physically beat them, maybe 5 that can actually has a chance, Joe, to beat them. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying that will.
And obviously, I mean, when I say that, I mean, we know in the NFL anything can happen, yeah. But man, they've got so many weapons. Their defense is really, really good this year. And I don't see anybody right now that's in the same league as them.
There's nobody in the same league as them in the league by far. However, there are certain assets to teams where they can, in my opinion, and it's going to be in the playoffs. I mean, if you play them in the regular season, just don't even show your game to them. Just go ahead and just chalk it up as, hey, we're going to lose this game. That's what I would do as a coach, the Belichick way. Don't show them nothing. Here's who I'm saying. Here's my teams I think has a chance. I think Buffalo Bills have a good enough defense to hang with Kansas City, slow them down enough where possibly there could be some heroics from Josh Allen in the fourth quarter to win. That's probably my least likely team to beat them. And I'm going to start with AFC. Them. I'm also going to put like last year's Tennessee Titans. Their game plan seemed to work in the first half. They have to shore things up on the defense, but the way to beat them obviously would be pound the rock, keep the ball away from Kansas City, give the rock to your man 40 times a game, just like we talked about for the playoffs last year. Feed the king 40 times a game in the playoffs. That's what the Tennessee Titans have to do.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to beat them in a shootout. So right. I think you're definitely going down the right track there.
Last team in the AFC I think has a chance would be the Pittsburgh Steelers from the standpoint of we can never count out Ben Roethlisberger from his, not saying you're going to pound the rock with him, but he can dink and dunk. He can extend the play. He can make your defense look stupid very easily. And it's not really from a talent standpoint he's just a grinder, man. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked. And he looks like taking that year off last year that he's got a new young youth way of playing about him. It's pretty fun to watch. And they have a great defensive line too. So you've got to get, just like any quarterback, you're going to have to get up in Mahomes' face if you want to beat him. Now that's an AFC. Now I'm not saying either one of those teams are going to be. I'm saying they're the ones that have a chance.
Right.
NFC wise, where Arizona's kind of on a downward skid, talent wise, they have a chance to beat anybody any given Sunday. Kyler Murray's, in my opinion, unbelievable talent. Probably the most talented player in the NFL. I mean, if the guy was taller than 5'9", people that say he's 5'11", I ain't buying it. Ain't buying it, folks. Ain't buying it. He's probably 5'9" at the tallest, and golly, he makes people. He make him run that fast and have that good of an arm is just, it should be illegal. And of course, the man Russell Wilson in Seattle. Who knows? They can beat anybody any week. I mean, I feel like we're going to see a Seattle, Kansas City Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's very possible, man. If Seattle's defense can come around any at all,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like Wilson's playing at MVP level.
Plus he's got some weapons to help him too.
Yeah, Lockett and Metcalf, man, you just pick your poison with those dudes, and
Right.
they're just taking turns, locking people up. Lockett lit Arizona up huge, 200 yards, multiple touchdowns, and so they're like, okay, San Fran this week says we'll key on Lockett. Well, Metcalf lots them up,
Yeah.
and Russell Wilson's good enough to recognize what the defenses are doing. To get it to the open man, and he's playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now.
Right, and if you remember last year, I mean, they had to bring two guys out of off the couch to play running back in the playoffs. If that hadn't happened, they might have made it to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, so, they're struggling to keep running backs healthy. They might have to do that again this year. They might have to get beast mode on the phone.
Yeah, beast mode. All right, so you got anything about what I just said about that's the only teams I even see have a chance to even beat them, much less can beat them. Of course, we're gonna favor our Tennessee Titans just because we this is our home state, and I mean Derrick Henry's so fun to watch whenever they feed him 40 times a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course we're biased to the Titans, but I do think you're right. I think it's going to have to be a contrast in styles, a really physical team to beat them. I don't think anybody's going to beat them in a shootout, which is probably what you're looking at, with an Arizona or with a Seattle.
Good call.
So I mean, you kind of naturally trend towards those AFC teams, like you mentioned, the Titans, the Steelers, maybe the Ravens. But it's going to be somebody that plays really physical football that can get to Mahomes, beat them up a little bit, play a grounded out style of game, keep the ball away from Mahomes. And at this point, I just don't see that happening. But anything can happen in the NFL. Just wanted to toss that out there, man. They continue to just be unbelievably impressive. So many weapons on offense and so well coached. They're far and away at the halfway point the best team in the league to me.
Absolutely, and of course we don't know where if the injury bug will bite them.
Right.
God forbid a hit Tyreek Hill or maybe even Kelsey goes down or even Mahomes took the injury last year, but we don't know about that. One of those three players get hurt, it changes that offense drastically. We don't know about the injury bug, but yeah, I'm with you, man. It's pretty much Kansas City and everybody else, which is unfortunate because football is better when there's more teams in the hunt. So, and we've been dealing with this with college football as well. Clemson and Alabama and everybody else for a while. So we need to get a better product. Come on, coaches, step up your game. You got anything else to add, Joe, this week?
Not much, man.
This man, Joe Nicely, is just so defeated on the NFL front, folks. Just so defeated.
I've mentally checked out on our fantasy, our season-long league. It's DraftKings or bust for me now. I'm telling you. Yeah, man, not much to take away. There were a couple for the first week, we saw weather be a factor in Green Bay, in Cleveland, Chicago. I think it's the first week that weather was really a factor, something we had to kind of take into account and plan around, especially DFS wise. We saw Dalvin Cook go nuts. Devontae Adams continue to be a beast. So, I mean, I think those are guys we can definitely target going forward. Like you mentioned, Russell Wilson and his receivers. Pick one or the other. Just continue to put up crazy amounts of points. I was kind of looking ahead of anything that stuck out in the upcoming week. The Chiefs play the Panthers. That should be kind of an interesting fantasy matchup. And Justin Herbert, man, we were talking about him before we came on, but that kid's unbelievably impressive. The Chargers are the Falcons West and find ways to lose, but Herbert's really, really good. So he's a guy that you can continue to target, maybe pair with Keenan Allen, who's just a volume monster.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can continue to look at that combination, and Joe Burrow. His price continues to go up on DraftKings, but he's a quarterback all of a sudden that we can rely on, that's throwing the ball, a huge amount of time every week, it seems like. I think he's on pace to break the rookie quarterback pass attempt record that Andrew Luck has. So, a couple of really exciting rookie quarterbacks, man.
Absolutely, yes. A couple more. Another fantasy game you probably want to look at. Pittsburgh heads to Dallas. If you got anybody on your team, play Pittsburgh wide receivers. That's going to be bad down there.
Oh man,
But,
another sicko. I even have guys that become terrible by just injuries on their team. Like I got CD Lamb on my team, and he's one of my guys that didn't hurt, but he's not putting any numbers up now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable, the ripple effect, and the waves seem to have all crashed down on Team J Nice this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Another game to look at, Chicago at Tennessee. Over and under there's 46.5. I don't know how any of the teams going to get to that. I see like a 20-3 game or a 24-10 game there, one way or the other. So anyway, that's all we got. We're on the cusp of finishing up week 8 with the New York Giants, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We head on to week 9 coming up. We got Thursday night football, Green Bay at San Fran, which we would normally say would be a good game, but who knows with the injuries. So my name's Andrew Putters. That's Joe Nicely. You've listened to the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast Sunday Show.
Go!